Hey everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be discussing the Lincoln Memorial cents from 1980 to 1989 that have errors, and there's a fair amount of them, but basically these errors are going to elevate their values, so you want to know how to look for them. I'll be having a presentation that I talk over with clear photos of all of the errors, and we're covering the full amount of the errors that have designations. They're recognized by the major grading companies essentially, and I've got all of them. So we'll get right into the presentation, and I'll also have values based off of different price points, considering, sometimes there's better condition or worse condition, or red versus red-brown. So anyways, let's get right into it. And here's our first error, the 1980 double die obverse. So right from the start, 1980's got a lot of errors as a heads up. And it's a strong doubling. You can see it in the Liberty. There's that kind of northwest spread here all throughout the coin. There's also in the lettering, it sometimes looks like extra thickness, especially when it's not this uncirculated, but there's also some clear separation in the 8, in the 0, and this one's going to be about $40 for one with a little bit of circulation, but a big jump for the mint state coins where they haven't seen circulation, $300 to $600, and will range up beyond 65, so a lot more for a 66 or 67 coin, let's say. 1982 also has a double die obverse. This one's a little more challenging to see. Kind of a westward spread in the G and the O and the D. You can see it basically. It's a $25 coin for AU ones, and then for mint state it doesn't jump like the 1980. It's about $50 to $100, but the double die reverse is actually quite expensive, as you can see, with a strong support in the AU range of $350, then $750 plus for mint state ones. But you can see the strong doubling, all kind of a northwest spread there, but just very noticeable. And this one was actually only discovered in 2007, so maybe maybe there's a 1981 that nobody's really found. So keep your eyes out on pretty much any coin, though I think it makes sense to save time and focus on the more established coins if you're going to be trying to cherry pick a lot of coins at once. There's also, by the way, another 1982 error that's a transitional error where they use the wrong letter and dating type. That is covered in another video of mine, but it's not really one of the attributed varieties. 1983, there's a double die obverse though. This one is a little bit less pronounced. You can see it in the bottom of the L and the E, a split serif in the R, top of the Y, and then a little bit of kind of westward doubling in the In God We Trust. AU 53, $25. Mint state coins are like $50 to $125, sometimes a little bit more. And then the double die reverse, though, is the real 1983 error in terms of what's the most popular. There's the strong splits, though it isn't the most valuable, but there's strong splits in the O, the N, the E, a little bit less in the cent, but I've seen one of these in person, and it's really noticeable. $60 for AU 53, and then $225 to $325 in the mint state. Curious that doesn't jump so much from 63 to 65. There's even another one. This is an obverse die counterclash, so a little bit more complicated of an error, but really the marker to look for is the total absence of ODWE in the In God We Trust. Also this huge cud on the back, and then some counterclashing can be seen above the date. So this one's pretty expensive in mint state. AU 53, $35, but $250, and ranging even higher pretty much in the mint state. And then in the Denver mint, there's also this double die obverse doubled ear coin. For reference, this is a normal ear, but the doubled ear just has what looks like an extra earlobe protruding. There's a lot of doubled ears in the 1980s. This one is probably the least clear, but it's actually quite expensive relative to the 1984, which will be the next coin. This is only $50 in AU, but $500 to $1,500 in mint state. My guess is that's just a little rare to find, as the 1984, you can even see it in the beard and just a really strong extra earlobe. This one is $25 in AU 53, $150 for mint state 63, and $225 for mint state 65 red, so just a fraction of the coin before it. There's also this double die obverse 1984D. You can see a little bit of a split in the 9. You can see some extra thickness in the 8 and the 4, but the values are pretty strong on it. $35 in AU 53, but that's always the case where there's generally a big bump in the mint state to $150 at mint state 63, $550 mint state 65 red. There's also some repunch mint marks, and there's repunch mint marks really in all of these years, but this is one of the ones that's recognized, and their AU values generally fall off really hard compared to the the mint state coins, so I'd expect an AU1 to be significantly less valuable. You can see it kind of in the top left of the coin, double serif there. You might also be able to tell in the bottom part of that mint mark, but a mint state coin could be anywhere from $100 to $300. After that, then there's also another doubled ear. Double die obverse, same thing. I only saw one value, mint state 66 red was $3,000, and I'd be curious to see, if a few more were found that were not 66. My guess is that it wouldn't really impact the price of that coin, because I think that there could be more interest in the variety since it's so significant, especially for doubled ear collectors. You can see that extra earlobe protruding, but I'm curious to see if that can get found. There's also something that I think this is a really misleading term, but I'm going to use it because I see it used as the way to describe it, the wide AM 1988s, but they're really not, they shouldn't be called wide AM because all the AMs have spacing between them. You're really going to want to look at the designer's initials, which are to the right of the bottom of the Lincoln Memorial, and you want to look for an extra bar in the G. So here it just looks like a line. Here it's almost like a full 90-degree angle, maybe part of a rectangle. And this one's going to fetch $175 for a mint state coin, only about $10 in AU condition, but you're not looking at the AM, you're really looking at this flared part of the G, and that's the same thing on the 1988D Memorial penny. Always want to look for that. This mint state 65 is even more expensive, $500, probably just a rarer coin, $40 in AU 53. And that brings us to the end of the 1980s coins with a huge variety. Everything from wide AM that shouldn't be called wide AM, obverse die counter clashes, double die obverse, double die reverse, repunch mint mark, lot to be looking for, and glad to be able to present it. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and get in touch with me on my website, treasuretown.yt.com, Facebook, Treasuretown, Instagram @TreasuretownYT, or Twitter @Treasuretown_YT, and I'll look forward to seeing you on some of my future vids.